Hi, my name is Amber, and this is my November book haul. The first three books that I got are all by Ella Montgomery. If you know me at all, you know that I read and loved her Anne McGee Gable series, and so I've been wanting to read more of her books. I haven't, and that's really disappointing to me because I started reading that series when I was in 5th grade and have continued rereading them ever since then. So knowing that I never actually bought or read any of her other books is really disappointing to me. So I finally got some books of hers I haven't read, and the first one has nothing to do with Ollie or Anne, and that is A Tangled Web. And this has to do with the Penhallow and Dark families. They've been married into each other's families for years, and Aunt Becky, who is the old matriarch of this clan, is the owner of the heirloom jug, and now she is going to name the new owner of this jug, but she has to wait a year as tradition calls for. And in that interim, there's a lot of things that happen with couples and family members, and not only that, there's the involvement of the moon boy who has second sight. And then, finally, the naming of the new owner happens, and it's quite the shock. So it sounds very interesting. Definitely looking forward to this book. The last two books that I got from Ella Montgomery is the Chronicles of Ollie and the Further Chronicles of Ollie. I did read some of the stories from here and had nothing to do with Anne or Ollie, and I thought these two had to do with Annalise, that there would be stories about her in them, but maybe they're in here, so we'll see about that. Either way, definitely looking forward to reading more stories that surround Ollie. Then I got The Pearl by John Steinbeck. I read this in a class. I never got to own it because I jumped a class and they were already in the middle of it, so she let me borrow it, and I just never got a chance to actually buy it myself. And here it is now. This book is about Kino. He's trying to make a living as a pearl diver. He has a wife and an infant son, so it's very important to him that he makes some money and is able to get food on the table for them, but he never seems to be able to pull in enough pearls. But one day he finds a pearl the size of a seagull's egg, and it brings in promise of security and warmth and comfort for them. And not only that, it actually brings in a lot of drastic changes that they never expected it to be. It was a very interesting read. I found it, the whole subject matter, the message that he was trying to send through this book, very interesting, very intriguing, and definitely something that I do kind of agree with, that no matter how much you think it's not going to, money will change you in some way. The Cider House Rules by John Irving. I read his book on Parafor on Mini, didn't particularly like it, but the variety interested me enough to pick up another one of his books. Not only that, I know that the book was made into a film, and I've been interested with the story. I read the synopsis for the film, and because I did not realize it was a book. And I didn't watch it, thankfully, because it did say that it was based off of a book. And it sounded really interesting to me. I don't exactly remember the synopsis. It doesn't have synopsis on the back either. But I've been wanting to watch the film. So I will definitely read this, and if I like it, I will watch it, because the only reason why I decided that I would want to watch it is because of the storyline. Otherwise, I wouldn't have watched it either way, because Tobey Maguire plays the main character, and I do not particularly care for him as an actor, so we'll see what the book has for me. Daisy, Fay and American Man by Fannie Flagg. I've only read two other books of hers, Fried Green Tomatoes. Definitely liked that one, and I read her most recent book, forgetting the name right now, and it goes to show that I did not particularly like that book because I don't remember it. It's just, I feel like she plays into that whole style that of splitting the story between the past and the present too much. I think she uses that way too much as almost like a crutch, because she doesn't seem to be able to do anything different. And I think with that book, it just didn't work. So I'm really hoping that with this, it doesn't have that, and it's completely different. I also feel like I've read this book before, either by a different name or something, because it sounds familiar. There's something about it that kind of reminds me of a story I've read or something. I'm just not really sure. I know it had been by Penny Flake, but I'm not really sure, so we'll see if it is or not. Amy and Roger's Epic Detour by Morgan Manson. And this is about Amy, whose mother has decided to move them from California to Connecticut. Amy has the responsibility of getting the car from there to Connecticut, but Amy doesn't like driving ever since her father got into a car accident and died. Roger comes into the picture when the mother decides to ask him to take the car with Amy cross country, and they don't know each other. It's very awkward, but they become friends through this journey and the detour that they take through this whole thing. The mother had an injury, and Amy decides to go with Roger on this detour. Very interesting. They both have their baggage, and it's just sounds very interesting. I did try to read it a couple years ago, but I was in a read sub, so I returned it back to the library. Now I own it, and hopefully I will like it. It was super cheap, so I felt it was worth getting. And yeah, I'm just definitely looking forward to it. A lot of people have raved on this book and said that was really good. And not only does it sound interesting, it has these kind of things in there. It has pictures and some of the itineraries of things, receipts, and the music list that they created for the state that they're driving through. It really does bring in a unique, more depth to the story, because it makes you feel like you're a part of the story, because the little things count. Song of the Humpback Whale by Jodi Picoult, another author that I'm trying to collect all the books that they've written. And this one is about Jane Jones, who's always felt like she's in the shadows of her husband, Oliver Jones, who is San Diego's oceanographer. In an escalating argument, Jane turns on Oliver in a very alarming velocity. So, in anger and fear, she takes their teenage daughter and runs off to an apple farm in Massachusetts. Oliver doesn't know where they are, and he goes on a search to find them. Sounds very interesting. I'm looking forward to where Jodi Picoult takes this story. Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. All I know what it's about is that the protagonist's name is Fanny Price. It's basically all I know. And I definitely like this cover. Very pretty. Either way, I've been wanting to be able to finish at least one other book other than Pride and Prejudice by her. I have several other books that I have either read halfway through or just didn't like at the time, but I really want to be able to read them all the way through and have a firm opinion on all of her books. John Adams by David McCullough. I am so freaking excited for this book. I just read, last month, John Meacham's Thomas Jefferson, The Art of Power, and he did talk a lot about Adams and Jefferson's relationship. Definitely loved reading more about Jefferson, so being able to read about Adams' time in presidency and his life in general is very thrilling for me. Not only that, David McCullough, he is a great author when it comes to this kind of stuff, so it makes me so excited to be able to actually get into depth with one of his books. The last book is Leaving Time by Jodi Picoult. This is her very new book. This is her latest book, and it has to do with elephants. If you do not know me, you do not know this, but I love, love, love elephants, and I've never read a fictional book that had anything to do with elephants. So I'm very excited that one of my favorite authors has taken elephants and used them as a part of her story. that is all the books that I was able to get this month. I will not be buying any more books. One, because of Christmas. Two, because I need to be able to use that money for more important things. I know what books you're excited to get into. And thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you all had a good and happy and safe Thanksgiving if you celebrate it. And I'll see you in the next